Hello, my beautiful Chucky peeps. Episode 2 of Season 3 of the Chucky TV series has now premiered, titled Let the Right One In, so it is time for us to go into full spoilers and recap the episode. I'm for sure going to want to hear from you guys if this season is locking you in, if you're getting invested, are you liking the tone and vibe, because 2 episodes in, I'm liking where we're headed. With this second episode, I wasn't expecting the amount of kills we were going to be getting, and also just how grotesque they would be. I also feel like they're balancing more the comedic and creepy Chucky. We got a lot of menacing things that Chucky did in here that I was like, oh, please let them stick with that for the rest of the season. And one of my biggest fears with like the White House and maybe them putting in a political element, they're not doing that, but they're pulling from other aspects of being the president, having this public image. And I feel like what they're doing with that is actually really clever. So just diving in from the beginning of the episode, we start off where we last left our trio, finding out Chucky is in the White House, where lovely Miss Beautiful Fairchild, that I hope nothing bad happens to her this episode, also finds out the news that Chucky is in the White House, deciding they'll use their online social careers to attempt to talk to Grant, the son in the White House, as their entryway so they could take down Chucky, and Miss Fairchild is up for the mission. We also get a conversation between Grant and Henry about their dead brother Joseph, and how Joseph seems to be believing that the ghost of his brother is living inside this doll. Kinda creepy. Bringing us to the title card sequence made up of eyeballs. Now, I thought this was going to lead us in to some sort of eyeball kill this episode, but we didn't really get that. It more was like there's eyeballs everywhere, whether you think that's Chucky or this new player into the White House. From there, we move on to a scene at the breakfast table with the presidential family where we get a small Easter egg.
Joseph would like Swedish meatballs.
Chucky wanting Swedish meatballs goes all the way back to Bride of Chucky, where Tiffany made that for him.
Look, Chucky, I made Swedish meatballs. Your favorite.
But one part of canon lore we did not know about.
Joseph doesn't like fucking pancakes.
Write that down in your history books, guys. Chucky don't like pancakes. Maybe he's a waffle guy. But this brings us into a meeting to an intriguing character known as Price. After what happened with the Secret Service agent and them being a little suspicious that maybe it wasn't self-inflicted and that somebody else might have done it to Teddy, they hire Price, who's supposed to be this like all-in-one fix-it kind of guy. And I love this idea here of some super Secret Service agent that is going to start sniffing around, trying to locate who's doing mischievous things in the White House. We already see him start to like find Chucky footprints, dwindle down possibilities, and I don't know, there's just something about like a skilled person going up against Chucky that like makes it for an interesting battle. So I'm curious for the next couple episodes when we're going to get the showdown between them. In the meantime, the trio was able to contact Grant, pulling on Lexi's grief and connecting in that way since he's someone who recently lost a brother. I actually thought that was a really clever way to connect the threads and give the trio more of a connection inside the White House, because really, if it was just Lexi thirst trapping Grant, I didn't think it was going to work all that well. Adding in this extra angle of grief and giving Grant a bit of a soft spot, even though it looks like he can be a bit of an a-hole, this way of connecting the storylines made a lot of sense to me. So while the trio was getting one step closer to being invited into the White House, we cut back to the end of the day where the president still has his letter opener missing, and his good old secretary decides to maybe look around the office for it, finding Chucky. Now this led into what I think is probably one of the glorious takedowns of the entire show. It would have been one thing if Chucky just sliced her neck and there was just a little bit of blood coming out of her neck, but her whole dang head peels back and we get some nice comedic Chucky in there.
Hey, do I look upside down to you right now?
That was a wonderfully executed scene. I really dug that, and I thought that was going to be the one kill of the episode. But it's like every time Chucky takes down someone in the White House, I'm just like, man, how are they going to handle this? Because you know in real life, if something like this were to happen in the White House, that place would be locked down. There'd be cameras everywhere. Nobody would leave the president's sight. So I was kind of shocked to see the way the show started handling it, and Price deciding to cover it up, to not let the public know, not even the president. Yes, he still plans to catch whoever did this, but he realizes the damage this could do if it got out to the public, if there was rumors that there's someone like this inside the White House. Image-wise, it would just be terrible, So they're gonna hide all of Chucky's kills from now on. And I'm like, what? I'm so glad they're more leaning into this side of being the president and the politics of it and trying to keep a squeaky clean image, because I was afraid a lot of this season would be, oh, this group doesn't like me. What about these rights? I have to make a bill on this. Things to just like push the button of certain groups. I was like, that's not gonna be a lot of fun to watch. But this, we could all get behind. We're like, that is messed up. But hey, who knows? Maybe that's actually happened before. I'm sure the White House has covered up nastier stuff. But right before the trio can get invited to the White House and Miss Fairchild will have a meeting with the First Lady, we get to see Jake and Devin trying to grow up in their relationship and take it a step further, which I know this annoys people whenever they play into their relationship, but I thought this episode actually handled it kind of funny, where Miss Fairchild sits down and is trying to educate them on their relationship. I mean, I was ready to bust out my pen and learn something here. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I could keep going. But man, we should have seen it as a red flag, because all this episode, they were doing nothing but treating Miss Fairchild like this innocent, sweet angel. She's such a good foster mom to the trio. She wants to help them catch Chucky. Oh, she did not deserve what happened to her. She gets to have the meeting with the First Lady, pleading the case of why the trio has changed, why they're good kids, and they just want someone to connect with. There's definitely slices of truth thrown into her speech and shows how much she actually feels about the kids. So whenever she's left alone and the First Lady is off talking to Price and then the camera is just lingering in on her, I'm like, no, don't do this. Not right now. Not a Miss Fairchild. She's supposed to die like towards the end of the season, not this early on. Chucky comes in with the American flag and starts strangling her. Now, a couple of things about this scene. One, Chucky's face looks awesome, man. The work done on this doll and the facial expression, I love it. It reminds me something of like the earlier Chucky movies. I miss when Chucky would have that demonic looking face. But the line that Chucky also throws in where he's like, I couldn't help but to make them orphans one more time.
I just couldn't resist thought of making those kids orphans one more time.
Oh, that's a stone cold line for Chucky. That's that Chucky humor I love. It's subtle, it's mean, and that feels exactly up Chucky's alley. I do think they lingered maybe a little too long on Chucky just flapping his little body up in the air, but whatever. At the end of it, this was kind of a surprise kill for me that actually hurt, because it's like, I was liking Miss Fairchild. This is gonna hurt the trio a lot. And it sucks even more that the White House is gonna cover this up, and Chucky knows it. That phone call he gave to Price and the First Lady, that was actually kind of chilling.
Wrapped it up nice and pretty too, just like Christmas morning.
He now knows he can get away with it, he can mess around with them, and that's what Chucky loves. He loves to just play with the victims. I thought it was even an interesting thing that they had Price sort of blackmail the First Lady, showing her photos of the husband cheating, although she mentions that they settled this and she was aware of it before he became president. That still would be something that, if let out to the public, would mess up his public image. So while there was like a real part of me afraid, like, how is this season gonna work? Chucky doing stuff in the White House, there's security everywhere, Secret Service, cameras. As soon as one body goes down, everything's gonna be locked down so tight, Chucky's not gonna be able to do anything. This added angle of bringing in Mr. Price, the cleaner, hiding stuff, it's making things a lot more intriguing for me. Aside from that, the only thing to like speculate and wonder what's going on is like Chucky seemed very specific about the body count he had. You know, he counted the secretary lady as one of the kills.
That's 2 down, 4 to go. But who's fucking counting?
And while at first I thought that was Chucky just kind of, you know, making a small hint towards like dead meat and the kill count, because they play up a lot on that. Last season, I know the cast was like having interviews with the dead meat crew. I thought that was just kind of like a little Easter egg towards that, but it might be something more. If he gets down to 3 bodies, whether those are Jake, Devin, and Lexi, that we're all assuming, but if that were the case, I don't think he would have added in the secretary and that Secret Service agent Teddy. It feels like he just needs 3 more people to take down and he's gonna accomplish some sort of voodoo ritual. All in all, I'm loving this kind of tone. It's treating everything mainly serious. We're actually having some movement on the plot. Bodies are going down left and right. Chucky's being an absolute diabolical menace. If the entire season goes this way, it's gonna be as good as the first for me. Let me know what you guys thought about episode 2 of Chucky season 3. What you enjoyed, what you didn't enjoy, your thoughts and theories. Anything and everything, be sure and like, subscribe, follow me on Twitter at 3C Films or on TikTok at 3C Films. But as always, I'm Chucky Boy. Take care.